Hey guys, Dan Malone here from MassLive.com, alongside, as always, Andrew Cyr of the Massachusetts Daily Collegian. We're here at the Mullen Center on Sunday evening, not a Saturday game, a Sunday game. It's going to throw us off a little bit. Following a UMass win over George Mason, 70-64, a game where UMass kind of had to claw and hang on at the end here. They were up 16 points, I think was their largest lead, and that got down to 3 points with about 2.5 minutes left, and it came down to some free throws where George Mason didn't make theirs, UMass did, and they were able to get a little bit of a cushion and hold on for a game that I think was frustrating, but at the same time, after that loss to Fordham on Wednesday, they really needed to come out and win this, and they did.
They did, and it wasn't a traditional UMass when you didn't have Jabari Hines, Dante Clark, Trey Davis going off for 30, 35, 40 points to win. Pretty relatively low-scoring game, pretty balanced throughout. Hines led the way with 17. Trey Davis had 16. Antoine Space had 15. Pretty balanced attack all the way around. There wasn't really it didn't really feel like UMass was really going to let this slip away, but at the same time, it got close enough. But UMass still seemed like,
I don't know. I felt when it got to 3, I was like, oh, here it comes. They're gonna let this one completely go away. But they never. George Mason, like you said, never got over the hump.
They didn't, and UMass led the entire game. But I thought in that game, not so much the guys who scored, but the guys who did the little things. I thought that C.J. Anderson might have had one of his best games as a Minuteman, a team-high 9 rebounds. But what I was most impressed with him was those 4 steals. I thought that coming into this game, you didn't know if he was going to start. He has that stress fracture in his right foot, the same thing that happened to Malik Hines. So his status was questionable coming into this game. But he's one of those guys that Derek says he's never going to lead this team in scoring. Much like Seth Berger, he's kind of those guys that they do all the little things right, and that's what you need to notice and appreciate out of them. But all in all, pretty balanced attack, and I think that for UMass moving forward, you're going to need to see a guy like Antoine Space score some double-digit points and at least give him some sort of post presence. Had a few good spin moves today for layups, but all in all, I think that UMass was pretty pleased with the way they played today.
Yeah, and Anderson was on crutches and in a walking boot just yesterday. Derek told us that he's not going to practice for the rest of the year. They weren't sure how much he was going to be able to play. It's going to kind of a Zach Coleman situation where they're just going to hope he stays healthy and can give them minutes on game day. He said he felt fine during warm-ups, and when he got in the court, he didn't feel anything. And right away, we kind of got a sense that he was going to be all right. When he got a steal, he went 80 feet coast to coast for a driving layup, and you're like, okay, is his foot hurt or what's going on here? Like you said, the rebounds were big, especially Antoine Space didn't get any rebounds. So it's nice that we're going to have a 6'5" guard who's third on the team in rebounding who can do that. And he's not super flashy. I think a lot of fans get frustrated that he doesn't play to the level that they would hope for. But Derek Keller called him Memphis tough for what he did tonight. Antoine Space said that they would have been surprised if he didn't play through whatever was ailing him. So that was a nice boost. And we talk about Space. He did do some nice things offensively in the paint. When he can go one-on-one and ISO on a guy, and he can get him with a little up fake and get a little spin move, he looks all right in that situation. He can lay one in off the glass. It's when he has to step out and shoot a little bit. He did make a 3 tonight, to his credit, or when he has to play some defense. He followed up a couple baskets with some really ugly defensive plays, a couple bad fouls. He fouled a guy taking a 3 right after a nice bucket. So, and like I said, no rebounds, which, I mean, you need him to be attacking the glass. So it's still a roller coaster with him. He had 17 points a couple games ago. He comes back with a bad game last time out, comes back with 15. They're going to take the 15 points every night out. But it's not something that you can really count on at this point. And like you said, it was nice to see them pull out a game where someone didn't have to go off for 25 points, where Dante Clark struggled shooting for most of the game, comes back with a couple really big buckets. He scored 7 straight down the stretch to kind of keep them at the point where they weren't really going to let things completely slip away. So it was nice to see them do some things that maybe they don't do every night, and still come away with a win when they really need one at this point of the season.
They did, and when you look to George Mason,
they're not good.
Pretty tough shooting performance. 20 for 60 from the field, 1 of 18 from 3.
18.
So you look to that game, and it's a 6-point win for the Minutemen. They make 1 or 2 threes, and it's a completely different game.
Against a better offensive team, this is a loss. But I mean, it's going to go down as a win in the standings. That's maybe can help them get out of that bottom 4. Who knows? they're not going to argue with it.
They did. And one thing I did like what I saw out of UMass today was when both Thomas and Jenkins had the ball in the post for George Mason. A lot of times
they were pounding it down there too in the second half.
They were pounding it down there a lot, like you said. But whether it was C.J. Anderson, Dante Clark, whoever was on the wing, they were coming down and doubling the post, especially when they put the ball to the floor. And I think that so many times this year, UMass has been attacked inside because they don't have that significant post presence. You see Rashawn Holloway do it, but he picks up quite a bit of foul. Same thing with Bergantino. Yep. But the fact that they're able to double team in the post, I think that moving forward, you're going to have to continue to do that, especially moving forward into Brooklyn, because UMass's weakness is the inside of that team.
Yeah, teams are going to try to exploit it.
Exactly. So I think that's a good plan by Kellogg. Good to see, like I mentioned earlier, Anderson with 4 steals. They're going to have to do that, and I think that moving forward, you're going to see a lot more out of it, and I think that it's going to help them in the long run.
Yeah, we'll see how they hold up, like you said, against the better team. An ugly win, but a win nonetheless.
Yeah.
So they'll take it. They're back here on Wednesday. They host St. Joe's, which will be a considerable upgrade in opponent talent level from tonight. But we'll see. Crazier things are happening. We'll see how they play. They played St. Joe's tough down in Philly last time. So I guess we'll see you back here on Wednesday. Sounds good.